Welcome, lads and ladies. Today we're looking at the winner bracket semi-final of the End of the Storm tournament. We have Gamers2 going up against NaVi. Both of these teams have played a great tournament so far. They are in the winners bracket semi-final and we're going into game number 1. It is on Cursed Hollow and this is going to be an exciting series. We have, of course, again a best of 3 series, and therefore the teams have to win 2 maps to advance to the winner bracket final. And well, let's find out who's going to take it here now. This is going to be an exciting one. We have actually Stitches being played together with Zagara on the side of Gamers2, so they're trying to rely on the hooks here on Cursed Hollow, and let's see if that works out for them or if NaVi is going to take the first map. Game number 1 coming up, End of the Storm winner bracket semi-final between Gamers2 and NaVi. And welcome everybody to game number 1 in the best of 3 series between Gamers2 and NaVi here at the End of the Storm tournament, our second day of the tournament. In fact, we're having to the left side of the map currently Gamers2, the Polish team, with Leo from Korea playing on Brightwing, ADRD on Zagara, Shichu on Stitches, Juve on Zeratul, and Nika on Sylvanas. To the right side of the map it is NaVi with Breeze on Mirrodin. Eternal is playing Jaina today. We have Splendor on Uther, Shrimpy on Tyrael, and JPL, who replaced Celium, is playing Kel'Thas for the composition here. And this is, of course, our winner bracket semi-final. I'm Khaldor, with me is Sham2. We have 2 casters for you today, bringing you the action here. So yeah, welcome Sham2.
Thank you so much. Very, very glad to be casting a high-tier game like this. Gamers2 is coming out here with a little bit of a weird composition already. We're starting to see that Stitches, we saw him yesterday. But seeing him again today, is it the rise of the Stitches, the hook? Has it come back? That's the question.
I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't mind. Those hooks were always amazing. Once you have the fishing hook, then on level 16 you can make some incredible plays. And I still remember there were, back in the early alpha, when the Dunk Train made this one incredible hook, didn't he, that won a game where he hooked into the opponent's base and that completely turned the game around, one of those blind hooks there. That was some really fun stuff. That's of course been months in the past since then. The game has changed a lot, the play has changed a lot, but yeah, hooks can make for very nice turnarounds.
Yeah, and it's always one of the really, really fun and hype moments of the game. We were asking this question actually on the podcast the other day. It's just, who do you feel is the most hype? When you see that pick, who do you feel has the most hype potential? And I say Stitches, because that one hook can completely turn a game on its head. Whether you're losing, whether you're winning, one hook can just turn the entire game around. And it's very much like Brightwing. Brightwing is another one of those heroes where you just kind of feel like you can always turn the game completely around. I think it's actually King Caffeine who would get the hook, right? King Caffeine was always their tank player.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right now, but the game that I was actually talking about was way back.
Oh, right. You know what? Yeah, Dunk used to be a huge. Anyway, yeah. Saishu getting pretty engaged upon pretty decently. A body blocking coming out here is real from Breeze. The slam gonna finish him off, and that's gonna be first blood going on over to the red team. And that's going to be really, really nice for them, picking that up, because the closer and the quicker you can get to that level 4, actually they're a little bit behind in experience still, that tribute coming up very, very shortly.
By the way, Sham, now that you came over to the better side of the meta, now that you're here in Europe.
I scoff hard enough.
Low blow detected. I have to educate you a little bit, because it took me months, and I'm going to help you now. So it's actually pronounced Shichu.
Shichu.
Exactly.
Okay.
I pronounced him wrong for months, and at some point I'm really still favoring that we create a caster union, and every time that we as a team decide we cannot pronounce that nickname, we just call him Bob. Until he changes his nickname. I'm really a huge fan of that idea, and I feel we should think about that.
Well, Shichu throws out the hook and is gonna miss it. Actually getting a little bit of a stun here on Joe. The tribute is up. He's going for it right now. Nicker trying to be a block in terms of body blocking all of the skill shots coming in, and that's gonna be successful for them. They are gonna get the tribute here.
Yeah, they get the tribute. The first one goes therefore straight to Gamers2, and currently we're having Nika and Shichu again in the mid lane. Shrimpy is taking the experience for NaVi here. At the top lane, it's still Juve on his Zeratul trying to look for a pick, and we have him with that auto attack build that we've been talking about already. Blackscope still refusing to use it. He always goes for his gathering power on level 4, but in this case we are seeing focused attack taken. The
kill against ADRD. Oh, not quite, but yeah, of course they get it here with 3 heroes jumping in. So much burst power thanks to Eternals, Jaina, and Breeze with the mobility and the stuns there. That was exactly what they needed. Good kill, and it's just showing again, Zagara in the early game, that lack of an escape is her downfall.
You always have to be incredibly conscious of where the entire enemy team is when you're playing one of those no-escape heroes. You can't push too far, but that's the big issue about Zagara. She is a pushing hero, but Shiku actually getting engaged upon yet again. The body blocks are real. The Blizzard hitting both waves on him, and it looks like he's gonna go down. Wow, Navi playing so incredibly aggressive in this early game. Level 7 has been grabbed here, and the Tribute should be up very, very shortly. Can Gamers2 get that level 7 before the Tribute?
They really like the aggressiveness, and of course the Tribute, that's what they're aiming for right now. It would be the first one for them. We're seeing on Khaldor next to the Mana Addict on level 1, Netherwind taken instead of the Gathering Power, so already a bit of a difference from what we've seen from Team Liquid earlier, where Falcon especially has been playing the hero. Tribute for Tribute. It's interesting, by the way, that the first time that I have a North American co-caster in the game is also the first time when we're seeing the North American meta on Brightwing over and over and over again. In the last series already, and now in this one as well. I've casted for weeks now after promote got changed, and nobody picked the talent. And the first time I have an NA caster with me, everybody picks promote on Brightwing. Did you bribe those guys?
I didn't bribe them, but Brightwing's got bribed, so maybe she started bribing with the right talent.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, you know it.
I just went for a bad pun and it just didn't work out, okay? Let's just go with it. Let's just promote the talent changes coming out here from Brightwing and be happy that she's going for the right meta, NA meta.
Oh, look at that. The gauntlet has been thrown. Okay, challenge accepted. We'll talk about that meta in a bit. The problem is I can't make fun of the NA meta because I don't think you guys have one.
Okay, alright. When the EU loses, I'll accept that as appropriate tribute. But speaking of tributes, let's
nice
talk about
one.
the fact
Good
that we've
job.
got a third tribute up here for the game, and this is actually only going to possibly be second tribute for somebody. It can't possibly be a curse just yet.
No, it's not. You have the second tribute, in this case, for Gamers2. And well, for now, both of the teams, of course, aiming for level 10. And in this case, Gust of Healing has been taken, Brightwing for the extra heals. We have Zagara with the battle momentum on level 7, not going for the endless creep in this case, so not really focusing on the map control just yet. It's, by the way, ADRD who's playing Zagara here, so he's been jumped a couple of times already. At this point, down to the bot lane, we're already having Leo and Juve trying to go for the thing. They pushed the lane in pretty hard already. Like, thanks to Brightwing and his promote, especially, we're having the towers already demolished, so that should give Gamers2 a bit more experience. But it's actually Navi who, thanks to all the kills that they got and denying experience, are ahead in XP and have level 10.
Ooh, but speaking of yet again, Shiku is getting caught by the rest of Navi. Can he survive? No, level 10 has been grabbed. There's the Phoenix. There's the Judgment. Oh, just barely at the gate. Not going to be able to get through here. Is going to be the Brightwing, and this is just so much damage going down here on Gamers2. Absolutely barreling through this bottom fort, and they're going to pick up probably another tribute very shortly. Did a tribute just spawn? No, it didn't. Oh my god.
No, there it is.
Crazy. There we go. There's the tribute.
Yeah. It was actually like a perfect timing window that they used there. They had level 10, and we only saw like a few creeps missing from Gamers2 getting level 10 as well, but Navi just relentlessly went in there, got 2 kills, and now they're of course in a great position here. Good hook against JPL, but nothing to follow that up. Here comes the Phoenix, straight for the zoning. Not the perfect Phoenix though. You would have liked to go a bit deeper with that than they actually did. Putric Bile already on the ground thanks to Stitches, cancelling the tribute channel again, and most of the heroics are already down, but we still have the Divine Shield ready. Another hook is missing. Shihu not hitting this one. Leo is being cancelled again on his tribute channel. They want this one. If they get it, it would be curse against Navi, but Navi is still in the area. They want to fight this, and I think they should be able to prevent it. A lot of their heroics are going to come up again in just a few seconds, but we still have Veiling Arrow and also Void Prison and more still ready on the side of Gamers2. The Polish team gets the tribute. Leo gets the channel completed, and now Navi is cursed.
That was so incredibly close. I don't know how they let Leo get that. They had so many poking abilities available, but it looked like Eternal was just kind of waiting a little bit too long to get that lost little Frostbolt in there. But there's the Judgment going in on ADRD. Can they actually capitalize on this? There's the Void Prison zoning out Eternal, and it looks like they're trying to go in here on Nicker, but I don't think that's going to be possible here. They're going to have to just back up. Yes, he does use his escape to get out of here. ADRD taking a lot of damage. Shiku taking a lot of damage as well, but wow, Navi is capitalizing. I was going to say they're going to be able to get that, but it looks like not. And the fact that they're all staying in this mid lane, the fact that Gamers2 is keeping them in this mid lane, means that the top lane and the bot lane are pushing in with the curse, and that's going to be a double fort for them.
Yeah, 2 of the forts are going to fall, but we still have an experience lead on the side of Navi, at least for now. That's going to turn probably once that the fort in the mid lane is being destroyed, but still, it's quite incredible to see how well they're playing here, and not a single kill for the Polish team just yet. Gamers2 is really struggling to drop somebody here. There's always Uther also with a potential Divine Shield to just save a target that is being hooked, but the hooks haven't really done a whole lot yet. Murden was always able to jump back, so Gamers2 is still waiting for that one incredible hook that allows them to isolate a target immediately and burst it down to turn this into an early 5 versus 4.
Yeah, and that's going to be where they're going to start taking their slow little advantages. The level 13 has been grabbed here. There's that Thunder Strike to really punish anytime they get that solo target in their range of the Muradin. But the improved Ice Block as well, that's going to be actually probably their biggest counter here to those hooks. They don't have the cleanse on... Oh, sorry, they do have the cleanse on Uther, so they have to make sure that, you know, if the hook's coming in and Uther's around, they can throw down that cleanse or Divine Shield. But if not, if Jaina is just by herself, she can throw down that improved Ice Block to immediately block the hook as well. Or even if she gets hooked, she can immediately Ice Block. And that's going to be their counterplay to this hook style. They have to worry about... That's pretty much going to be all they have to worry about, is that hook.
Yeah, the hook is definitely one of the most important things, and of course there's always Void Prison and more to consider, so not clumping in those fights is something that you need to pay some attention to. We're having also Mutalisk taken out level 13, the Relentless on Stitch is one of the few tanks that still has Relentless available. Blizzard took it away from a lot of the heroes in the last patch. We're having at the same time now also Evasive Fire chosen, and that's really surprising to me that we don't see a Spell Shield there, considering that Jaina and Kel'Thas on the opponent's team. So they still go for Evasive Fire here to get a bit more speed on Sylvanas, and let's see how exactly that next fight is going to go. The bosses are pushing the lanes, but in the case of Gamers2, it's starting to threaten the keep.
Yes, and they're going to take excellent advantage of that. They do get the hook in on Schwimpy, but he does have his Anduin's Might in order to actually escape from that. But the rest of Gamers2 can just sit here. They can poke away. They can wait for that hook to come back up on cooldown and go for a little bit more of a juicier target if they can. They have to be a little bit careful, though, because if they use that hook, it's a little bit telltale or telegraphed in any way. There's a cleanse that's going to go down, and it's going to be useless.
I'm really liking the way still how Navi is defending this right now. They're currently with the boss at the top lane. They have taken down the first fort. So far they didn't actually kill any structures. This boss was the first one that made it possible for them to drop something, and they did that at the top lane. They took down, I think, a tower at the bot lane, yes, the entire wall. So in this case we're still seeing the level 15 coming in a bit faster for Navi. I'm really liking the way that they're soaking experience in this game. They are just ahead of Gamers2 in that regard. Gamers2 already trying to, even using the Void Prison to make sure that they get the tribute. Very well done by them. Just drop that for now and then move back. That was actually a really smart one, because if they lose this tribute, then all of a sudden they will have to fight for the next one, since Navi will have 2 tributes and the next one would curse them. And at the next tribute we are most likely going to see Navi on level 16 and Gamers2 not having that extra talent yet.
It's always the chess game between both these teams. They're always trying to think at least 2 moves ahead, and that next tribute, you are completely right. That could have been a huge one later on, and that would have been a level 16. It looks like Navi going to get level 16 anyway. They're going to take out this fort in the bot lane. Well, just on the cusp of it. But that next tribute's now coming up here. This could have been a massive loss here for Gamers2. But that Void Prison, always one of the biggest reasons why you want to pick up Zeratul, why you want to pick up Zagara as well on this map, because you can just section off the enemy team, pick up the tribute. It's a very short channel. You don't have to worry about keeping your team alive for that long, as long as you just have a Void Prison to block everybody out. And because of that hallway type combat that's in this map, it's so easy to get those really big Void Prisons where it just blocks off the entire pathway for the enemy team.
And because of that Void Prism earlier, they can let this tribute go. They don't have to fight for it. They would have had to fight with a talent less, so that's really important for them right now, that they are able to let this one go. They can fight for the next one, and then they will play on even footing with their opponents, since they have the level 16 in just a bit. We're having the 16 talents, of course, now already taken for their opponents, and that gives us, in this case, not only Benediction and Stone Form, we're having for Jaina Numbing Blast taken, and it is actually also another Blood for Blood, of course, with Numbing Blast, Benediction, Stone Form, the Ignite. All these talents super strong and helping those heroes out a lot, but on the side of Gamers2 we have the extra talent coming to play now too, and that's the fishing hook, of course, which is going to be the most important one for them at this level.
Yes, if they can land the fishing hook, especially because fishing hook, generally when you don't have fishing hook, it's a little bit easier to see when that hook is coming in. But when it's so long that you don't even see it coming in except for like the split a second, then you don't have as much time to really get that cleanse down. You have to get your cursor all the way over to your ally. You have to throw down the cleanse at the same time. That's very difficult when the fishing hook, when the stitches isn't even remotely on your map. You don't even see it, but then the fishing hook, adding that 2 range, so incredibly nice for just kind of countering the counterplay of cleanse.
ADRD with really nice creep spread on the map, by the way. He doesn't have endless creep, so it doesn't really show him everything, but at a lot of specific locations where you're currently seeing those creep tumors, just to make sure that they know from which angle Navi is going to appear here. Muradin jumping away immediately after he gets hooked here. Unfortunately for Shihu, he didn't get any of the other targets there. A hook against Jaina in this case, or Kelthas, would be deadly. But now Navi is trying to turn this around. Again, that zoning Phoenix, and they are able to lock down Shihu for a bit longer, but the Phoenix always just on the edge of the battle. It feels like Kelthas would like to go in a bit deeper to throw that in, but of course it's always risky. Breeze with another jump after he's getting hooked, and now they initiate, and there's already of course another flame strike. Shiru goes down thanks to the ignite talent. Breeze is trying to get away, but he's being dropped by the opponents. That Void Prison did a whole lot of work, sectioning off 3 heroes of Navi, but they're still winning the fight, taking down Zeratul now as well, and they are on the hunt. After they got 3 kills in here, they're going for the tribute that's going to curse Gamers2, and all of a sudden Gamers2 is in a whole world of trouble.
Yes, and it was such a close fight there. Even though they did section off everybody, ADRD was still a little bit exposed, and that was exactly what Shwimpy and Muradin really kind of capitalized on. They knew that they could take out ADRD so incredibly quickly, and that was allowed them to really take that entire match for their favor, because the rest of their team was completely locked down by those maws, by the Void Prisons. So that was a really nice capitalization there from Navi, and that really kind of turned the entire fight around. Now they've got the curse, now they've got a golem, and now they can start pushing in this mid lane, or just go for their own golem. They can really just kind of start rotating around the map as they please, because right now Kael'thas sitting in a pretty good spot. I mean, oh, actually no, he doesn't. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. I thought he had Gathering Power. He doesn't. He has the Netherwind with level 4, which is actually what we were seeing a whole bunch yesterday. But I was going to say, if he had Gathering Power, he's really scary right now. It doesn't matter. He's still doing a lot of damage.
Netherwind on level 4. If you don't have that double tank line that you've been talking about, or really a couple of like supports that babysit you the entire time, it feels like Netherwind is just a bit better. First of all, as Kael'thas, you are very likely to die if your opponent does his job well and really starts focusing you, which they should. You are pretty squishy still. But even if not, you have with Netherwind just the opportunity to add to a stun lock. So you can always go, for example, with the Tyrande, just get the stun and get the Hunter's Mark in Netherwind afterwards, and maybe even the Stormbolt as the setup, and then you can get such a huge CC chain. It's brilliant, and it's worth just so much in these fights. So I'm really liking the build here. The second boss has now been taken, as you already said it would be. So we're having boss after boss taken, the curse being used for that, pushing of course the lanes back and allowing, just in this case, Navi to get every single camp on the map and work towards the level 20.
And yes, once they get to that level 20 is when it's going to be really good for them to start pushing that advantage. Their opponents only have 1 tribute, so as soon as the tributes start spawning back up again in the next about minute or so, they're going to be able to start pressing that advantage and keeping more tributes for their team instead of letting Gamers2 get any of those tributes. In fact, if they can stop Gamers2 from getting a single curse, then they're going to be in a really good spot, because Gamers2's got a very strong pushing potential. They've got Promote, they've got Zagara. But if Navi can really lock them out of getting into a position where they can push, then they're going to keep the advantage in their favor. Grave Golem is going to be able to take out this keep. That is going to be the first keep of the game now, going on over to Navi. Gamers2 always has to be so incredibly aware of just how quick and how fast that top lane is going to be pushing on their core every single time.
Yeah, you're definitely correct in that. And also, on top of that, we now have level 20 for Navi, and that gives them a double Bolt of the Storm on Jaina and Kael'thas, which is of course amazing. Gives them another escape there that they can use if they are hooked, for example. We're having also Hardened Shield on the side of Muradin, not going for the rewind here. Definitely too much damage on the opponent's hand, and also on Tyrael. So very difficult to take down the tank line that they're currently running with. We're also seeing Uther in this case not choosing his talents just yet. Redemption very popular still. When we're having them focusing on that keep, once again there comes the stun or the hook, and immediately Bolt of the Storm bringing him back to safety.
Yes, and that's exactly what's really scary about being Stitches and not being able to do any type of like cheeky play, because as soon as level 20 is grabbed, guess what? Bunch of Bolts of the Storm gonna be able to disengage. You've got Muradin, he's already got his leap. Anduin's Might on Tyrael, and Uther himself, well, Uther always walks away, so it's not gonna be so much of an issue there. But once you have somebody like Stitches on your team and you don't have the ability to really hook anybody, what does Stitches have? And that's going to be the biggest issue that Gamers2 is going to have to really kind of overpass here in the next couple of minutes, because they need to start taking this map back in their favor, because they already are down a keep.
The only thing that they can really do if they keep hooking Muradin is apply immediate polymorph to Muradin so that they get some free damage in, and once Muradin just jumps back, you try to rinse and repeat. They're getting a great hook at the backline, but again, that Bolt of the Storm is of course a massive nuisance right now.
Yes, and even then, it's on such a low cooldown that the hook has to be perfect at the right time and at the exactly right moment, and without a Divine Shield, without a cleanse, without everything else going down on it. Shiku getting engaged upon yet again. There's a Void Prison into Maw. Wow, those three people are not going to be back into the fight for quite a bit, but it doesn't even matter. Even when they do, there's so many living bombs going down, and now it looks like it's going to be Leo from Korea is going to be the next target of ire. Nick are going to go down as well. Shiku trying to go in on Eternal, but I don't think that's going to happen. Splendor coming in with the last second with the heal, gonna keep him alive, and that's going to be a 3-person wipe here by NaVi. NaVi taking this game so incredibly strong in the late game.
3 of the heroes already taken down in that fight, and by now we are at 11 kills versus 1, and an aggressive blink by Eternal moving in. We had Leo jumping away already with a blink heal, barely escaping here thanks to Zeratul moving as well. I really like that escape, but at the same time, of course, does it really matter? A keep is definitely gonna fall. I think they were at this point even considering going straight for the core, but with only 17 seconds on Zagara, that's of course a bit too much to ask for. So they take the keep for now. That's the second keep that falls here. Great plays on the side of NaVi. Those fights, it's just so incredibly difficult for Gamers2 to get the damage and really take these heroes down, even with the Void Prism and the Maw. Unfortunately, of course, hitting the same 3 targets, they were not able to make anything happen in the meantime.
Yeah, that was 2 heroics that went down at the same exact time, and because of that, it really just kind of overlapped each other, and they didn't really get that much of a advantage of having a Void Prison and a Maw. They are going to pick up the Grave Golem here in the time that it takes for Gamers2 to come back in here, but it doesn't really matter. There's the Judgment coming back in here on ADRD. He does use the Bolt. He is able to get away for the time being. Leo from Korea taking another Living Bomb, and a Flame Strike to the face is going to be able to blink heal away. There's the Divine Shield coming in here. Are they going to be able to melt down Gamers2 is the question here. There's another Void Prison and a Maw. They're just going to back up, go into the Void Prison, and wait it out, and they are going to be able to re-engage very, very confident here, because look at how many heroics are down here for Gamers2.
Yeah, and basically all of them. We have still Avatar up for NaVi. That's the only one that they have currently. I really liked how especially Uther was turning things around after he got hooked. He just immediately applied a Divine Shield to himself, turned around and started stunning out people. So suddenly it was Gamers2 that was under pressure. They didn't really expect that, and NaVi still turning around right away, trying to move in here. Tribute at the top. This is going to be the second one for them. The boss is still moving towards the core, but of course it's so low in health that it will not do any damage, won't even go through the shield. Up at the top, the Tribute has already been caught by Breeze. He was capturing this one, and just Gamers2 a bit too late to really force another battle there. A 2-level lead at this point, by the way. We're having level 22 versus level 20, so that is a nice stat advantage that NaVi is currently running with. But there's still one boss on the map, and I guess that NaVi is going to expect Gamers2 to try and go for it.
Actually, Gamers2 might be able to get away. There we go. There's NaVi reacting. I saw NaVi taking a little bit of time there to react here, but they're going to go straight on in here. Schwimpy now going pretty hard into Shiku, and it looks like he's going to be the first one to go down. There's the fight here for the capture circle, and it looks like they are just barely keeping it on their... Oh, okay, there we go. I was about to say, they're keeping it a little bit under their own control for a good amount of time, but Leo from Korea now in the middle of NaVi. Where is he going? He's got nowhere to go. He's going to get wiped out. It is a 4-0 wipe, and it looks like NaVi is going to be able to take this game pretty confidently. You've got the Grave Golem going down to the bot lane, the top lane, and the core is just completely vulnerable. No keeps left.
There's 3 catapults also pushing the top lane right now. They're just moving straight for the core, all 3 of them. In the last fight, even the Morse that they were trying to use to get access to the golem did not really work, always missing one of the heroes, and this is of course Navi just like going for that at this point. They win game number 1, they take it on Cursed Hollow here. Great play by them, 15 kills in total against 1 at the end of the match. Map number 1 ending in their favor. Navi, they take the lead against Gamers2 here at the end of the Storm winner bracket semifinal. And we're going to go in game number 2 in just a second to see who's going to take that.
So much CC on the side of Navi. They have the stun on Uther, they have Muradin, they have Tyrellin. They're using all these heroes for just this chain CC against opponents, and they take them down. They have Kel'Thas and Jaina in the back to supply all that damage, and it really shows. So Navi takes game number 1, and well, that means that we're having the losers map choice for, well, the opponents, the Polish team, Gamers2. So Blackheart's Bay is going to be the next map. And it's interesting how the maps worked once again, the drafts that we saw there, because all of a sudden Muradin is banned out. Gamers2, they don't really want to deal with this. They were trying to ban out the combination of Tyrande and Muradin already earlier, but it didn't really work out for them. That Muradin just like so tanky as well. They ban out Muradin now against Navi, and we're also seeing for Navi suddenly 2 tanks. Gamers2 looking at it and saying like, okay, what are we going to play here? And they decide to go into Arthurs. They're playing Arthurs here as their tank at the front line. They have also Zeratul. Yuvo and Zeratul, of course, extremely strong. And just this auto attack build these days is super popular. So guys, the second map coming up now for Gamers2. There's a lot on the line here. They want to go into the winner bracket final, of course, and that means they have to take Navi down now 2 times in a row. They need to win the next 2 maps. Let's see if Navi is going to decide this one in their favor, or if it's going to be like, Gamers2. Blackheart's Bay coming up right now at the end of the Storm.
Alright guys, welcome to our second game between Navi and Gamers2. We are still in the winner bracket semi-final of the Enter the Storm tournament. To the left side of the map here in Blackheart's Bay, we're having the Polish team who are currently down in the series. They lost the last map to Navi. We have Gamers2 with Leo from Korea on Malfurion, Nika on Sylvanas, AD on Jaina, Shihu on Arthurs in this game, and Juve on Zeratul. To the right side, it's Navi with Breeze on Anubarak, Splendor on Brightwing, Tyrael played by Schwimpy, and Eternal jumping on Illidan as JPL uses Vala to complete the setup here. So we're having very interesting lineups in this game, actually without Kel'Thas, and Shem2 casting with me today was already commenting on that earlier. A bit of a surprise there, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very, very interesting compositions coming out of both of these teams. We've got the level 1 talents coming in, but no Kel'Thas means this is going to be such a weird game to cast. I feel like this is casting a couple of patches ago or something like that, because we've seen Kel'Thas almost 100% pick ban, but not seeing him today.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit odd. Like, I personally expected him to be taken here, so at last pick Vala. I mean, I don't mind Vala too much. Vala really complements the setup that they have really well. It's just a lot of sustained damage that you have there. You have the multi-shot build, you can poke from a distance, you have frost shot on level 13 then. And of course, another thing that really comes into play here, which makes the whole setup just really nice, is you have that 4th blood for blood. That's really one of the main reasons why Vala is probably going to be taken here over Kel'Thas. Kel'Thas just has this massive power spike on level 16 where he can use his ignite. But it's still a little bit odd to not see him being picked just because you want to have that additional blood for blood. Then again, Vala is a great hero already. In this case, she's actually getting really low here since Leo apparently up at the top lane was already applying a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and, you know, with having that Vala, you're just going to have that more blood for blood. But here's the interesting thing, is you were saying at level 13 you get to pick up that frost shot. Without having Kel'Thas on the opposing team, you could be a little bit more greedy, I would say, with that level 13 and not have to go for Spell Shield.
Yeah, I suppose. In this
For
case,
the most part, we normally see Spell Shields come down. You still see Jaina on the other team, so of course you have to be a little bit scared.
I personally would really... I always take Frost Shot if I can. The only reason when I would go for the Spell Shield on Vala on level 13 is if I really feel, okay, there's so much burst damage with the abilities that I have to go for it. And in this case, it's more the fear of Kel'Thas than anything else. You're right, we have Jaina there, we have Sylvanas, but in this case, personally, I would take the Frost Shot.
Oh yeah, most certainly. That's what I'm saying. It's because you have the freeness now to go for the frost shot instead of having to worry about picking up spell shots.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. I thought you would still go for it since we have still a bit of burst there. But yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with what you just said because that frost shot is an amazing talent. I'm loving it.
Well, so we've got Shiku in the bot lane.
Ah, good job.
It's gonna take some time.
Dude, I mispronounced him for like 6 months, and people have been trying to teach me. And the first time when I actually learned how to pronounce his nickname was when I met him in person and could finally ask him myself.
Well, so he's sitting in the bot lane. He's going to be quite a terror for Brightwing to go for. And finally, the NA meta is usurped today in EU. There's no promote on the Brightwing.
Thank God. Thank God, a normal game. Oh, and the kill against Tyrael. Alright, Tyrael taken. Yeah, guys, if you don't know what that was about, so far, like on NA for the longest time now, on Tacitdown and Brightwing, you would pick up promote on level 4, and Europe has constantly ignored that for the last few weeks, and has just said, like, no, we don't really like promote all too much, we still think that Protective Shield is the much better talent to take. And now that I have an NA casting with me, suddenly, like, the last few players that were playing Brightwing and Tacitdown just said, like, nope, promote is the shit, and went for it immediately, so it was a bit odd. Good timing there.
Go back and see what the win-loss rate was with that promo on Brightwing. Probably have to assume NA's meta was obviously better, and they had the higher win rate with having promote on Brightwing. But
actually, they lost 2-0. Just saying.
Okay, maybe they decided, all right, NA is crap, and we're just gonna go back to what we normally do.
Hey, I'm not judging, okay? I'm just stating facts. They lost. But by the way, we have a couple of really interesting talents, and I want to go over that real quick. Of course, on the side of most of the heroes, it's still the stellar talents to take here. We are still talking with the Wind and Venom and Unstable Poison for Sylvanas, not going for Remorseless in this case. But I'm really liking what we're seeing on Jaina currently, going for the Ice Lance on level 7. That's not all that common. Frostbitten is currently the go-to talent on the European server when you're talking Jaina build. Down at the bot lane, as we're saying that, we have Eternal and Splendor going for the fight at the Bruiser camp, though. Shiku, well, yeah, they just got a bit of an assistance by Leo from Korea moving in, but still, the Eternal at least has his coins still ready, so that, I guess, was the important part. But a nice and interesting talent taken here for sure, and also Juve with a full auto attack damage build right now, not even going for Regeneration Master or Blink cooldown reduction on level 1, but even adding in the Seasoned Marksman here.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really, really good time to go for something like that, because, ooh, a little bit of lag. It seems like Illidan did get dropped from the game here. So they just have to get that back up and get the person back into the game. It's Eternal who dropped.
Shouldn't really be a problem.
So far, Gamers2 taking this game very, very confidently so far. Like, they're up an entire level. They've got Siege Giants in the bot lane, and they're pressing down on this fort, and they already took out the mid fort because they did a good amount of damage on the bottom tower, which meant that when they actually got their turn in at the beginning, they just immediately took out the fort, which is one thing that, you know, I think a lot of new players maybe don't grasp just yet. But if you take out one of the towers in the mid lane, you get the turn in, you get to take out the entire fort instead of doing just a lot of damage to the fort. Yeah. But as I'm saying that, Navi looks like they're trying to defend this bot lane. Schweppy does use Anduin's Might to get in there, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to turn this into an engagement.
Yeah, at this point we're having really, of course, only the start of the game. That Seasoned Marksman is going to be extremely powerful, especially in the later stages. And you get Seasoned Marksman stacked for everything that you kill, basically. So in this case, that also means, oh, nice attempt to take down JPL up at the top here by Juve. Zeratul moving in already, doing a lot of damage. You're getting a second kill against Brightwing. Wow, Juve really dishing out the damage, even using the Void Prism now to stop Anuburak, already anticipating that there might be a Burrow Strike. They killed 3 in a row in this engagement. Really well done here by Gamers2. The Polish team all of a sudden going straight for it. They have more than a level lead. It's nearly 2 levels that they're ahead. And Zeratul is just going to become stronger throughout the entire game. He's going to take those small camps to the left side, get even more stacks with those. This is going to be a horrible game for Navi to come back into.
Yeah, it's level 10 to level 9, and in the last couple of patches, they've made that little difference a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit harder for the teams who are in the disadvantage to come back into this, but they are on the cusp of level 10. If they can start picking up those heroics and start turning these into fights, they've got a good amount of presence up here in the top lane. Unfortunately, Brightwing is all the way in the bot lane trying to deal with all of the onslaught of Shiku, and he's got 9 coins. He's going to be able to turn that in as well, but Navi in a little bit of a rough spot right now.
Yeah, they definitely are, but at least they have their heroics in, and that means we have Locust Swarm on Anubarak for the additional sustain, Judgment of course on Tyrael. Those two jumping into the backline, that's going to be the important part. If you can jump those squishies, especially Jaina before she has a potential ice block on level 13, then you can do some damage. That lineup is based a lot on momentum. If you get the momentum in one of these fights with Illidan, with Tyrael, with Anubarak, then you should be able to win a team fight and take down several heroes. But so far, the entire game hasn't really gone in their favor. There's way too much damage for them to deal with on Gamers2 right now to be isolated on the map, and that's what happened several times.
Yes, and because of that isolation, because of all of the capitalization from Gamers2, look, we can see they're already a level ahead. If they can hit 13, then they can yet again just get another really confident, easy turn-in. And actually, never mind. They don't even need level 13. They're just going to turn it in. Yo has been running around with a full stack of coins. Somebody please start taking out loans from Yoho, because he doesn't. He's got so much just immediate liquid capital sitting on his person. He had, I think, 11 before, and then enough for another turn in again, and he still has 6 on his on him. So it's just ridiculous.
They have 14 at this point that they can use for another turn in right afterwards. And already after taking down the top 4, now the shots are focusing on the bottom, so they are just getting farther and farther ahead. Here's the 13 up at the top lane. They're going straight for another kill, and it's just that Tyrael hard engage that we see here with Judgment, using that immediately. They get the kill against Sylvanas, but now Gamers2 is coming back. Na'Vi was trying to get at least 1 kill here, but Tyrael is being punished. He judgmented Sylvanas, took her down, but now there's the Void Prism, and once again Gamers2 is moving in. The root is already forming. They're trying to lock a hero down, but just in the last second Breeze is getting away, and as I say, the Howling Blast hits him, but he escapes at least for now. Really well played by Gamers2, turning that around again. They are still 2 level ahead of their opponents, and the extra talent is of course going to make their heroes even safer, especially with the Ice Block being chosen on Sylvanas.
And not only just the ice block, but the shrink ray coming in. That's going to really debilitate that Illidan. Eternal's going to have such a hard time trying to stay in the backline and do damage. Even with Immolation, it's still just going to ridiculously remove so much of his cooldown regeneration that he has on his passive trait. And that's the greatest thing about the shrink ray. It's going to really, really stop him from being able to do too much.
Yeah, Illidan is jumping in once again, so that would be the perfect opportunity to showcase that. But we're having now also Face Shield taken on Brightwing, imposing will for Tyrael. Finally also the ability shield on Illidan, so that's going to make him a bit tankier, and the frost shot that we've been talking about on Vala. Maybe now on even talents Na'Vi can make it happen here. Another pause by Breeze, so apparently Na'Vi this time with a bit of trouble. But yeah, so far it's 5 kills against 1, that's what we're seeing happening here. Keep that Seasoned Marksman in mind, because with the auto attack build on Zeratul, this is definitely going to matter in the late game a lot. Currently Zeratul is already at 7,000 damage, which is more damage than any of the heroes on the side of Team Na'Vi has currently.
Yeah, but Sylvanas, no slouch herself, she's got 10,000 heroic damage. But of course, that's more sustained damage, a little bit slower. Zeratul's a lot more bursty. And you also have to always consider the fact that he's a melee hero, so he doesn't really get to have that passive range damage that somebody like a Sylvanas will have. So getting 7,000 damage in and being more damage than the entire enemy team's most damaging heroes, which for some strange reason right now is a Brightwing. Well, Brightwing's auto attack's really strong, but that's a good amount of damage. That's a ridiculous amount of damage that has gone down all these heroes on Navi's side. So Gamers2 sitting in a pretty good spot. Can they keep this going is the question. Do you think that the later game is going to go into Navi's side or Gamers2?
Well, I actually
compositions.
feel that right now the problem that they have is that all of the fours are already gone. So every single turn-in that happens is already going to attack the inner circle. So Gamers2 should be in a position where if they keep this up with the coins, they don't even need to take any engagements later on. They can just simply say, okay, we're going to go in, turn in, and if they win another team fight, which I think they can do once they hit level 16 for sure, they could just simply take boss as well. So I don't really think that we're even going to end up in a situation where both of the teams are going to be on level 20 without already a significant advantage in keep on the side of Gamers2 if Na'Vi can't turn it around and win one fight in a very dominating fashion. I guess that's the biggest problem at this point. They have the heroes to jump the backline. If they start with the first kill in one of these setups, I guess they're going to be fine. The problem is we didn't really see a proper team fight yet, did we? Like, it was
No, we
always
haven't.
just pick-offs, like 2 heroes going up against 3 or 4, and a rotation just punishing the opponent. That's most of the kills that Gamers2 got there. It's not like they won a big engagement where we had a 5 versus 5.
But I mean, I say that's a lot more into the advantage of Navi, of Gamers2 to start taking those smaller engagements here and there. Because I feel like if Navi had the full might of 5-person versus 5-person, and they were on the same talent tier, I feel like Navi would probably win, given their composition.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
The issue here is they need to get to 16 at the same time or reasonably sooner after their opponents, and if they don't, then yeah, there's going to be that huge gap, and there can be another turn in, probably lose a keep. But I think the entire time for Navi to really turn this whole entire game around is going to be the gap between 16 to 20.
They could take a fight here already, I feel. Like, as long as the 16 isn't there, I think Navi can start a fight. The thing is, which hero are you going to focus on? I feel at this point, with Jaina taking Ice Block, Malfurion and Sylvanas are the only 2 choices that you really have. If you lock them down, as we saw earlier with Tyrell's Judgment, and are able to just use additional CC thanks to a Nuburak Brightwing, or maybe even like, well, yeah, that's probably all that you can do, Brightwing with a quick polymorph in there. If you get that and you get an early kill, I feel you can snowball any team fight. But so far, Gamers2 has really refused to go into these team fights properly. Right now, they're setting it up at the bot lane so that it looks like they might actually go for one. We have only 4 of the Navi players there, but Brightwing with a face shield can of course jump in at any second. He's currently split pushing up at the top lane. It's just that 2-level lead that we are seeing, which is pretty difficult to deal with. And as you said, once that 16 hits, you shouldn't start fighting anymore. Keep in mind also that we are seeing on level 16 quadruple blood for blood for the side of Navi, so that's going to snowball even more. I feel they can fight already, as long as they're on even talents, but 16 is going to give them a massive power spike.
It is. The question is, can they actually eliminate Arthas that quickly, though? I mean, you have a Malfurion going against you, as well as Arthas's army. It's a lot of damage to really have to chew through very, very quickly, so it's going to be difficult for them to even, like, triple or quad blood for blood Shiku here, and actually turn that into a kill. And also, not only that, but if everybody's focusing on the Arthas, guess who's not being focused, and that's going to be the Zeratul, just kind of in the background. And if he gets in there, if he starts doing enough damage, then he's going to start taking out people from the backline too quickly, then you can actually take out somebody like Siku.
I feel like you already eliminate 60% of the hit points with the quadruple blood for blood, if you chain it properly, and I would expect that Navi knows how to do that. If you do that, and then you use at the same time, or with it, also the Judgment on Tyrell, I feel any target that you focus on is going to be taken out quite easily. You should be able to do that unless you screw the combo up. Malfurion has the protective shield that helps, but the heal that he has, I don't think that heals fast enough. If you drop 60% of the hit points in a second and then everybody just focuses on the hero, he should die by all means. So they might not even focus on Arthas. I think it's going to be a very situational call depending on who exactly is going to be exposed.
That's true. Well, I mean, I guess we're going to have to see how the team fight goes. If Gamers2 can keep Shiku alive or not. But Navi in a very scary position right now. Level 16 just on the cusp here for Gamers2. So they have to play back. They have to soak. They have to wait for a little bit of time. They are awarded right now the little bit of patience and the justness of having not 16 coins ready to turn in here for Gamers2. They've got only 6 coins here on Gamers2, so they've got a good amount of time before Gamers2 can get 16 coins for another turn in. They have that to really kind of rely on right now to get that level 16. But Breeze getting a little bit engaged upon. There's the Howling Blast, but not actually going to connect here. And they're trying to turn something into this, but I don't think they can actually do that much here. A couple of heroics did go down in that time. There's the Void Prison, though, and the Entangling Roots going down to focus in on that, but they're turning around on ADRD. Not going to be able to do so, though. He's actually going to be able to use Frost Block to stay alive for a little bit longer, but doesn't matter because they are still going to pick up that kill, and now they're going to turn in on Leo from Korea. And they're actually going to be able to win a 16-15 engagement. Eternal taking a lot of damage. He's going to go down, though. But Shiku is the last one alive except for Knicker. Knicker is running so quickly. He's got to use his strafe to get away from here.
Shihu is now finally trying to get away there, and he has still a bit of a shield that he can use, but at the same time, of course, now that they are reaching the fort, finally, there's nothing that Navi can do anymore. But that fight was exactly like what we've been talking about earlier. If you get one of those early snipes, you can really start turning it around, and they used a lot of their heroics already to try and take Breeze out. I mean, they used the Void Prism at the end, but there was already a water elemental that they threw into the mix, and everything was just designed to take Breeze on, and that didn't really work for them, and Navi knew exactly when to turn it around, started with that kill chain, and now they are very close to level 16 themselves. But of course, the big part is here, they were able to win without the 16 talent. That was absolutely impressive. Winning with level 13 versus 16 is absolutely amazing, and they were able to pull that off, and now they have the quadruple blood for blood plus the Critterize. That's even something that we didn't touch upon. It's not only the blood for blood. If Brightwing goes in first with the Critterize, then all of a sudden it's even more damage that you apply, and this is just really a bit of a nightmare for Gamers2 here. They're still a level ahead, but Navi is starting to close that gap.
And Gamers2 didn't actually, or actually Gamers2 denied Navi the ability to turn in, which is, I find, hilarious. They were down so many people on the map, but Shiku was just staying there with death coils and with everything else that he's got, and just poked them away from being able to turn in. They didn't have the ability to. So even though they got so much of the advantage of winning that team fight, they actually didn't really get a ton out of that. They have 24 coins on Navi's side, though. So if they get one turn in, they can start turning this very, very quickly into their favor.
Well, there's the turn-in already. They have 24 coins that they want to get rid of. That's 2 turn-ins, not close to 2, and they're turning in the first one. So at this point, we're having them with a first. That's actually like the second one that they have. That's going to eliminate the fort at the mid lane, and also going to put a lot of pressure to the top lane. They're not going to get the second fort just yet, but they should be able to just push in any second then. At this point, it's still 17 versus 17. Oh, Juve diving deep here. Yeah, he has Wormhole, but still against a team that had this much disable, he needs to be careful with that. If one of those hits before he uses Wormhole, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble and is most likely going to die.
Yeah, Polymorph could have completely ruined his day there, but he's going to be a little bit risky, and I guess that's going to be what they could possibly get a little bit of advantage out of, you know? A little bit of risky play here and there. If you actually come out on top, is going to be worth it, but even then, all of that damage that he did was completely healed away. Did ward them away for a little bit, though. They were trying to be a little bit more aggressive, and just kind of poking in there with the Zeratul will, of course, always scare your opponents. There looks like there's going to be a huge turn-in coming in here. The Entangling Roots trying to go down here. Are they going to be able to block it? Yes, they are. They don't have... Okay, they do have enough coins, but they don't actually get the full turn-in just yet.
Yeah, they will. At least they were able to just deny the turn of the Polish team, because that's 16 coins that they have, as you already said. The full turn is not completed, and that would have been really a bit of a disaster, since the mid lane keep would have died, and that of course puts a lot of pressure onto the mid lane, since catapults are going to spawn at this point for Gamers2 in that lane. But we're having again Navi moving in, and they are very close to a completed turn in now themselves. They only need 2 more coins. They could actually get them to the right side in only 8 seconds. Another one of the camps is going to appear on the map. The boss is another big objective, of course, that you can always go for. If you know that your opponent is somewhere in the middle trying to turn in, you can try and burst that down real fast so that you can get some pressure on the top lane. Coins at the right side are already taken, exactly where I mentioned earlier, the small camp. But we're having, again, Gamers2 in the middle trying to turn in and complete their own Ghost Ship Barrage.
Oh, they might be able to get it. Can they actually stop it? No. Yes, just barely. They are able to stop the last 2 coins from going in here. Eternal going in here. They're going very, very hard on Leo from Korea. There is going to be him going down very quickly. The Void Prison, though, sectioning off the rest of Navi. Eternal's going to go down in the back line, but it doesn't really matter because they pick up a double kill in the back line. And now Shiku is going to be in the middle of the team, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to go for Nicker. And now there's only one person left. It's Shiku. Can they clean him up? Can they end the game possibly out of this? Because there's an entire keep that they can just kind of chew through. 5 people down here. This could actually turn into something. They've got 30 seconds. They could possibly just run down the lane. No,
not enough
they're going to be safe.
They have to go through the wall as well.
Storm would definitely go for something like that. But
yeah,
it looks like this time they're not gonna. They're gonna go for the turn in, and boss is gonna be worth it though.
You can't make that happen. You have to kill the keep, you have to go through the wall, past the towers.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You don't have to kill the towers,
the wall and everything.
But yeah, you have to at least go through one of the walls at the side, then go through the keep, and you don't have the time to really do that, I feel. But I mean, the fight in itself was already amazing. Getting all the experience, they are suddenly close to level 20. They will hit that much, much faster than Gamers2, and we're now seeing them not only taking the boss, but also, of course, with another turn-in. That already is great. They currently have 12 coins, so they can just take those 2 small camps in in the middle, they take the chest as well. That's 16 coins, that's another turn-in. And at this point, the boss is going to force Gamers to defend the top lane, so they won't even be able to contest that turn-in if Na'Vi wants to go for it. And with the level 20 talent, they have all the choices right now. They can either push and fight 20 to 19, or they can just simply move into the middle and say, go, we're going to turn in now, we're going to drop at least one of the keeps thanks to that, and the boss is already damaging their top lane, so it's a win-win situation for them either way.
Yeah, this is a very, very large victory for them. They've got the Grave Golem in the top lane that they still have to spend 3 people to kind of clean up, and they can run over here and pick up, well, sorry, Na'Vi can run over here and pick up the Siege Giants as well. And this is going to be just completely turning the whole entire game on their heads. They've got all this PvE element in front of them. They can just start taking out all these camps. They've got the Bruisers up in the top lane as well. The only thing that Gamers2 can really do is grab their own Bruisers, but they're going to lose all their other...
At least they got level 20 now. So with level 20 they have Storm Shield on Malfurion, we're seeing them with the Hardened Shield, also the Rewinder on Zeratul is of course going to help quite a bit. The thing is that in the team fight you could really see that the damage coming from Vala moving into the back and then suddenly getting a full strafe off towards the back line, which eliminated most of the spell damage dealers that we saw on the side of Gamers2. So that alone already did so much work. If you're looking at damage alone, Vala is currently at 24,000, which is quite impressive, taking the damage lead for the team here. Only Sylvanas on the opponent's team has more damage dealt to heroes, and that was really quite impressive there. Those engages especially. It's just that blood for blood coupled with the initiation and that hard engage thanks to the Tyrael Judgment is absolutely amazing. And killing Malfurion this early in the game, just make sure that nobody else in the fight will ever receive heal, and then you can really snowball it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm personally a bit surprised that Malfurion didn't pick up Ice Block. Against a Tyrael and an Anubarak and an Illidan, I personally would always be scared shitless and take that ice block every single time. Him going for Shrinkway, it's great against Illidan, of course, but I would be just so scared that I'm the target that they try to focus on.
And I think that is definitely what Na'Vi has realized. They realized that there's no ice block on the Malfurion, and trying to deal with that Illidan is something that I was mentioning back at the draft. You always try to sometimes overcompensate to try to deal with that Illidan, and then you forget about everything else that's going to come out from the enemy team. And that's exactly what he did. They're overcompensating for that Illidan. They threw down that Shrink Ray, but exactly what Na'Vi, I guess, was waiting for, or possibly just noticed and picked up on, is the fact that there's no ice block there. So in that engagement, I was like, he popped ice block, and I was like, oh wait, there's no ice block there.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very scary thing to deal with. Shiku now getting engaged upon. Can they melt him very quickly? There's the Criterize doing so much work here. Leo from Korea now is going to use his Tranquility. There's the Shrink Ray doing a little bit of work here, but can they keep everybody alive is the question. Eternal staying very, very hot on their tail, and it looks like Leo from Korea is going to take a little bit more damage. Oh, but the Wailing Arrow is going to melt down Eternal.
That was really well done here, like making sure that Illidan died. I was very surprised that Eternal dove this hard into 4 with him knowing that there was a Void Prison, so that was definitely him overstepping it just a bit. They got a good kill against Arthas, that alone was already worth it. There were a few coins after Arthas got killed, so you deny coins to Gamers2. You don't really have to go for the chase here. It was really difficult for Nubarak and also Tyrael to close the distance and go back to help Illidan out, and once that Gamers2 realized that, they just turned around and dropped him, so that was very well done on their part. A bit too deep for Illidan, but no harm done here. At least there are a few coins that Gamers2 might now be able to turn in, but Shrimpy is already in position and wants to make sure that that doesn't happen, because it would be another completed turn-in and drop one of the keeps that we're seeing for Na'Vi.
Yes, and they have a little bit of an advantage right now because they've got the Arthas up for, a couple of seconds. They could possibly start turning this into a team fight, but even then, they've got Eternal that's on the way up. He's got 6 seconds before he's going to spawn, but even then, he still has to run all the way over here. So they just need to get these 2 coins in. They need to get Yova to get those coins in too, and that's going to be successful. So they're going to get at least a keep.
Yeah, well, we have the first chest actually in their hands now as well. Keep is definitely going to fall. The keep in the mid lane is already very low. We have another pause. Apparently Eternal is really having some serious problems here with this connection. That's the second time that they had to pause the game because of him. I guess it's not going to take too long. The last time he was back in a few seconds. But just to sum that up again, we are currently having up at the top lane, well, no tower really done to, no damage to the towers really done yet. So there it is. That was a quick one. So it's not going to kill the second keep. That's not going to happen. We're going to have keeps for both teams in the mid lane destroyed, but we're seeing a lot more coins now on the side of Na'Vi since they were able to pick up the chest in the mid lane, and they're also probably going to take both of the camps that we're seeing. They're taking the vision at the tower. Checking the boss, we have 12 seconds, 10 on the boss now, so that is a threat. They could lay a trap. I doubt that Navi would really try and go for boss now, because it's such an obvious move that I feel Gamers2 is going to check, but they could lay a trap there.
They could definitely lay a trap, and it's level, you know, with the even levels, this means it's going to be a little bit easier for them to actually get in here. And not only that, but they've got a good amount of poking potential as well, so they don't have to walk into these things completely blind. They don't have to face check these bushes. They've got Moonfire, they've got, you know, Sylvanas, they've got pretty much everything else in order to just kind of throw something into a bush and check to see if there's a waiting terror in that bush. So they can play this very nice and slowly. But that boss, that's going to be a huge posturing point. We can see everybody's just kind of moving around that. Brightwing has to go deal with the Siege Giants in the bot lane, but she can immediately teleport up.
You don't want to go to the bot lane now unless you have one of those global talents that
Exactly.
Brightwing has. If you're not close to the boss, then you will run into a big problem at some point. And Gamers2, they have the balls there to go straight for the boss and try to use it. But as you can see, we already have Navi moving in, and boss has been abandoned by Gamers2. The Polish team just doesn't want to go for that. But they could go into the team fight now. Brightwing is still at the bot lane, and Gamers2, I feel, has to win one at some point. And they are looking for it already, for an engagement. But of course, with 10 coins on Breeze, 21 in general, I would be a bit reluctant to really take a fight if I had this many coins at this point.
Everybody's going to be really reluctant to take any coins or any fights right now because, I mean, looking at both these teams have their mid keeps down. And even though I was a little bit over-eager to see an end of the game after a complete team wipe, now is one of those points where it's not only just a question, it's a definite thing. If you lose too many of your team members right now, it's going to be game over. And Gamers2 have to play very, very, very careful right now, because if they wipe here, they are going to be knocked down to losers bracket.
Exactly. They already lost the first game. This is the second. Breeze looks like he wants to turn the coins in. If he gets that turn in, that is a completed turn in for them. And that would mean, let me double check the top. The keep is not going to fall, but it's going to be severely damaged. But Breeze has to move back already. The call was made. Let's check the boss. They are probably there, and they are moving in for that. Gamers2, can they burst it down? It doesn't look like it. There's still like 30% of the hit points, maybe a bit less, so you won't be able to burst that down. They have to move back, even though they didn't really know that Anubarak would be this late, but Anub is on the way now, and he will be there in time to fight.
And there's the Brightwing teleport in as well, so they're gonna call in all of the numbers right now. They've got 5v5. Brightwing's been sitting in the bot lane for quite a good amount of time. Breeze now looks like he wants to go in, but misses the spikes. So Shiku's gonna stay alive for a little bit longer. But both these teams are gonna sit around and posture so much. 23 on the cusp for Gamers2, but even then, it's just a very small level advantage at this point. Everybody's got all of their full talent builds.
These annoying beetles, by the way, so damn annoying here the entire time. Looking at the builds again, guys, if you just want to copy one of those builds, this is pretty solid what both of the teams are playing here. Both of the teams at the top of the European meta right now, and they are really playing a great game. Very tactical at this point, and the chests spawning on the map, they might actually change things around a bit. And already we have both of the teams moving in. Eternal eats one of the Shadow Daggers here, and at this point it looks like the top chest is going to go to Gamers2 unless Breeze is going to try and initiate here. Uses his Impale, doesn't get that through though. They're jumping in, stealing the coins away. Very well done here, and moving back already. Gamers2 still not willing to fight.
Yeah, that was a really scary position there for Gamers2. They all started positioning around that bridge. One Void Prison could have easily started ruining their day, because they could have got a lot of their people kind of caught up in one Void Prison because of that bridge. It's a very huge choke point. But now it looks like it's going to be a huge fight for the turn-in. Breeze already trying to turn in 15 coins available for him to throw in here. But nobody really wants to go and commit too hard here.
Yeah,
Gamers2 trying to poke.
That's why you actually would love to have a Kel'Thas right now.
Yes,
This is
right?
like the Kel'Thas time where you need Kel'Thas with Flamethrower and Ignite to really make sure that you can have the poke, but they don't. And Shihu is moving them back. Like, he's really moving them back here, and they are starting to get their turn-ins, and that would be 12 coins turned ill already. Schwimpy is there. He just interrupts that in the last second. They're not initiating just yet. They're still getting some coins to the right side. The teams with 31 coins against 11 right now. That's a lot of potential turn-ins, but it's all about a team fight. If you can wipe the opponent's team, then the game is over. Then you don't even need to turn in anymore. And Shihu again is pushing them back. Arthur's now, with all the talents that he has for sustain, is extremely tanky. Relentless, Stone Skin, and those also Hardened Shield. That is very, very powerful for a tank.
Yes, and that Hardened Shield is going to be a huge counter to that quad Blood for Blood as well, because even if you get 60% of his health down and you get the Critter Rise, if he can get the hardened shield down at the right second, then that burst is mitigated by quite a bit, so it could potentially completely save him in these team fights. Bree's going to get rooted, going to get a good amount of damage in, but he's going to burrow charge away if he feels a little bit too threatened here.
Oh,
so he's fine for now. He's popping his Locust Form, though. It looks like they're going to go for the engagement.
Yeah, they could jump in right now, and here comes the stun against Shihu. They're going for him, aren't they? Here comes the silence at the same time, and of course Illidan is already in the backline, jumping straight into the Void Prism after it has been casted here. The first hero already dead. One now, it's a 5 versus 4 in favor of Gamers2. Once again, the strafe being used, but Illidan is dead already. It's a 5 versus 3, and just like that, Gamers2, the Polish team, are going for the kills. They're trying to go straight for Splendor, who jumped away to Shrimpy, but another kill. It's nearly a complete wipe, as Shrimpy, the only one surviving, is trying to move back, and Gamers2, they don't even care about that turn-in anymore. They're just going straight through the middle here. They know that they've already killed the keep earlier, so they want to use the opportunity they have right now with 30 seconds on Anubarak to drop their core and force a third game. What a battle there!
That was so incredibly hype. I can't believe that they're actually going to be able to turn this entire game around. It really kind of turned around because Shiku seemed to start peeling, and that was really what he needed to do in that team fight. He was peeling so hard for his team, and that is going to allow Gamers2 to take this game number 2.
Very well done here. A third game coming up next here in the best of 3 series between NaVi and Gamers2. Really well played. I can't wait for map number 3.
What a finish there. The entire match just back and forth the entire time. Team fights that lasted for hours, and all of a sudden at the end, when the core is already low, he just decides to move in. We see Zeratul going on the core, taking it down here with his auto attacks and deciding the game for Gamers2. This series is tied. We're going into the third map right now, and it's again Tomb of the Spider Queen. And the lineups that we're seeing for the teams are once again crazy, especially when we're looking at the setup for Gamers2. They're running Tacita together with Brightwing, and we've already talked about the NA meta with Promote on level 4 a lot. And on both of these heroes, they now have the option. They have also as the tank Anubarak, which is of course very tanky, but with the Beetles also a great hero if you want to dominate a lane and push that in. And then to round things up, there's also Sylvanas and Zegara. So right from the get-go, we already know what Gamers2 is going to try and do here. They're going to try to dominate these lanes, dominate the turn-in spots, try to push and just not team fight all too much. They have a lot of tools though that they can also use in the team fights, but with the pushing power that they have, if they at some point get the upper hand, they should be able to raise down a lot of the structures that Navi needs here, of course. So we're going to find out who's going to take this best of 3 series. We're going to jump in the last map of the best of 3. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen, as already announced. So guys, get ready. This is the last map between Navi and Gamers2.
Well guys, the game is up. Game number 3 in our series here, the best of 3 at the winners bracket semi-final of the Enter the Storm tournament. Gamers2, the Polish team, is going up against Navi. In the last game it looked for a long time like Navi would win it with a 2-0, but then Gamers2, Napirdalai came back into it, took the game, forced map number 3, and to the left side we're having the Polish team now with Nika on Sylvanas, ADRD on Zegara, Juve on Tacita, Shihu on Anubarak, and Leo from Korea here on Tomb of the Spider Queen on Brightwing. To the right side of the map, it is Navi with Breeze on Tyrael, Shrimpy on ETC, Splendor on Malfurion, Eternal on Jaina, and JPL playing a Kelthas. I'm Khaldor, with me is Sham2, and we're going to bring you the coverage of the third game in this best of 3 series between Navi and Gamers2.
And it's the semifinals, which is just so exciting because whoever goes on to this goes to fight Team Arthas in the finals. And the loser of this has to go straight on into the losers bracket and fight their way back through that, where I believe Team Liquid and a couple of other teams are waiting for them eagerly to try and get their way back into the grand finals later on tomorrow.
Definitely not an easy bracket down there. Nobody really expected Team Liquid to lose this early. They lost to Pushek team, and therefore the loser bracket is pretty stacked right now. Arthas, of course, also waiting for their opponent here. But Tomb of the Spider Queen is a pretty cool map to really close this series out. It's a lot about control, which is one of the reasons why we're having Zegara again being used on this map, this time by Gamers2 here. And they're already pushing the lanes, rotating the entire time, and really trying to apply a lot of pressure here. If they get a lucky kill, that will of course be brilliant for them, but the problem that you have is you run up against 2 of the best damage dealers in the game right now, against Jaina and Kelthas.
Yeah, and you know, you were talking about their running back and forth and hoping to get a kill. It's also this really cool thing that people discovered, especially on Dragonshire, where you can just run back and forth between the lanes before your creeps start to get kills on the enemy creeps. You can actually just soak both the lanes with just having 4 people run back and forth perfectly and still have the roaming potential of a 4-person gank squad.
On Dragonshire, it's actually very, very popular. We see that a lot. It's basically an 8-second rotation that you have that it takes you to go from one to another. On Dragonshire, it's even a bit more like useful because you have so many bushes there that block vision, so that you can just overwhelm an opponent that just like tries to switch between 2 lanes and doesn't really pay attention to that. Right now we have just gems being like harvested everywhere, and also very typical for this map is that we're having on level 1 for both of the teams scouting drone taken on Malfurion and to the left side for Gamers2 on the side of Brightwing, because vision here is really everything.
Yes, and not only that, but Bribe, of course, on Brightwing is a little less useful on this map. There's only one mercenary camp that actually can get picked up here. That would be one whole stack of Bribe. Other than that, it's going to be a bunch of bruises. So Scouting Drone also just gives that little bit of insight into where the gems are being uploaded and thrown over to the Spider Queen. But of course, also Bribe is just,
Yeah, well,
it's a shame though. But it's okay, because there's going to be Promote.
I was about to mention that.
It's going to be good.
Yep, we have Promote taken. So for people that don't know that, Promote has been changed in the past, like actually was in the Kel'Thas patch, where suddenly the duration was up from 15 seconds up to 30. You have still your 2 stacks on the heroes, and in NA, that suddenly triggered Promote being taken on every single hero that could run Promote, and Promote just like pushing in every single lane. Europe was experimenting for that for quite a bit, but never really picked up on the talent, said they don't really like it. But we've seen it for the 2nd time today taken now, and both times on this map in particular. So Promote is actually something that the teams are starting to run on Tomb of the Spider Queen. On most of the other maps that we've casted so far, we've still seeing Protective Shield taken a lot more. So Promote not really arriving in the European meta just yet, but on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's definitely starting to become a thing.
Well, it's because it's such a great map for pushing. I mean, you can have so many different pushing potentials in terms of just getting those web weavers, getting the gems, etc. And just once you get all those in your favor, you get the web weavers pushing down the lane. Look at this already. Mid lane turrets are completely out of ammo already, and that's just because of those promoted melee minions walking straight through. They've got 300% extra health. But it looks like there's going to be a little bit of an engagement here on Yoa, and it looks like he's going to be able to get away. Is it Yowa? Yowa, I guess?
Juve.
Juva.
It's actually not an O, it's a Polish letter, but you can't really express that with the normal letter, so they had to replace that with an O. Usually there's a little bit of an extra sign on top of it.
Yeah, I kept noticing you kept saying that. I was just like, I see Yova.
I learned that as well when I met him in person in DreamHack Bucharest, and I was also a bit surprised. I was like, why does nobody tell us these things? And you don't really want to rely on the Twitch chat that tells you that you pronounce it wrong, because you all know that if you pronounce it the way that he does, you're probably saying like kurva in the end, and you don't really want to do that. So instead, I was really like, I trust the player more.
I would trust the player as well. Especially when I was getting yelled at that Siege is not apparently CJ. So we're having a good amount of aggression coming in here, but it looks like the first web weavers are going to go on over to the red team. So Navi's going to be able to start turning that push around, because they don't have promotes, but they are going to have these web weavers, and that's hopefully going to allow them to get a little bit of damage done on these towers, because look at all the towers here. 4 Gamers2, none of them hardly touched, all of them full ammo. They are ready to take out these web weavers. But can Gamers2 actually defend this off without losing a single tower? That's my question, because they already have the pushing potential.
Gamers2 already have now the Unstable Poison and Sylvanas, and that is definitely going to help a lot with that. So with all the spells that they have and all the damage that they can execute, they should be able to defend us without losing too much. The bot lane is the one that's really being pushed hard, and that's where we're having at least Zagara starting with the counter push, but the rest of the team is already eliminating the web weaver in the mid lane, so they should be able to rotate down in just a second. They're losing a few towers here, so the first 2 towers are definitely going to go down, but in general, they did fairly well with the defense here, I have to say.
Yeah, they only lost a couple of towers in the bot lane, so that's a victory for them.
And right now, as you can see, we're having also on level 7 loudspeakers taken for ETC, which is a talent that you don't see all that often. There's actually a couple of choices. Level 7 and level 13 I find right now on ETC are definitely talents where you have a lot of options. Also interesting to see that Shihu is not going for the full Beetle build, but instead on level 1 and on level 7 goes for the goes for his Impale. So that is pretty much an old school build that especially Team Arthas has been running back in the day when they are the only ones that were using Anubarak. That was of course before the latest patch.
Yeah, and It's interesting to see, but I actually kind of prefer it a little bit just because that little bit of extra range on the spikes actually helps so much in terms of just kind of reaching into the backline and disrupting your opponents, especially when they have such a strong backline. Look at this backline. They've got the Jaina and the Kael'thas, so getting a little bit of extra range on that spikes allows you to initiate or at least start disrupting that backline just a little bit easier. Looks like they are going to be pushing this mid lane so incredibly strong. They've got so much going on here, especially with Yova just kind of coming in here. Is he going to throw down a couple of promotes as well? They are actually going to go for a little bit of an engagement here. Eternal does have to back up here. JPL is a little bit forward, but Breeze is the one who's actually low in health. But it doesn't really matter. Shrimpy does go in there. Does pick up the first kill here on Gamers2, but they're going to lose their own ETC doing that.
Yeah, ETC goes down for Navi. Very well done here, so that at least they get the counter kill. And just in general, what Gamers2 is currently doing here, that feels kind of so cheesy to a certain extent. It's not so much about the promote, but the promote together with which heroes they are running, because they have such a heavy pusher lineup. A double promote, a Sylvanas, a Zagara, the Black Arrow here. All of these talents are amazing, and the double kill thanks to the Maw that we saw from AD Ardi, the mastermind of the Polish team, once again getting a good ult through here, and they immediately capitalize on that with the Wailing Arrow, using that and eliminating those two. They can just move back, turn in again. They have 60 of those gems, and that's of course another turn in for them once those 13 seconds are over until you can turn in again. And this is just an amazing setup for them. They have 1.5 level ahead, but if the game continues this way, then they will soon start to scratch at those keeps. And with this much pushing power, if you just don't pay attention to a lane for 10 seconds, that keep is gone.
Yeah, I mean, with promote lasting 30 seconds, that's definitely long enough that you can promote something in the mid lane, in the middle of a lane, and all of a sudden it's going to make its way all the way to a keep before it starts to fade. So that's a good amount of time for them to just keep, possibly just run to one lane, put a whole bunch of promotes down, move to another lane, start pushing that one down. And that forces your enemies to be in these really awkward positions where they have to defend both lanes, but there's 5 actual heroes in one of those lanes, so they really can't let that one go. But while the promote pushes the other lane, you're going to lose whatever towers are there. So it's a very, very difficult situation to deal with. Doesn't even matter, though, how many promotes you have, because Gamers2 also has Web Weavers now pushing down in this mid, top, and bot lane.
And Zagara and of course the Black Arrow make it so easy to push, and also of course as long as you disable with maybe a Shadow Dagger even the 2 towers, it's just so amazing for them to have all these minions pushing here. They have the top lane pushing, the mid lane as well. Breeze and Shrimpy are starting to move over there, trying to deal with the Web Weavers, even using Phoenix right now to de-push the lane. The cooldown is so low that you can definitely spam that ult quite a bit. A 40-second cooldown makes it one of the ults with the lowest cooldown in the game. Once again the attempt to go for Shrimpy. You have to be careful of that mosh pit though.
Yeah, the mosh pit, of course, is going to be one of those really, really big things, and I think that's going to also help out with the Nubarak picking up that extended reach on the spikes. It doesn't matter where Nubarak is, he can disrupt that mosh pit, but they're going in for the huge engagement here. There's a beautiful ball cut, catching a number of people, but the mosh pit is going to be able to turn this around. ADRD is going to go down very quickly. Leo from Korea looks like he's going to be the next target here of the ire from Navi. Are they going to be able to melt him down, though? That's the question. Yes, he's going to go down here. And, oh, Yova looks like he's trying to get away. Can he do it? He's going to go for it. He's going to throw down 2 promotes. Oh, man. Is this what he's going to do with his last couple of seconds?
Yeah, apparently it is. Well, it was the only thing that he could do. There was no way for him to actually run away. He bought a bit of time, I suppose. We still have a level advantage on the side of Gamers2, and they are close to taking down the first keep in the game. It's already halfway down in HP and has no shots left, no ammunition left to it. 4 kills against 3. In the late game, I feel with the compositions that we're seeing here, it's definitely going to be Navi that's going to make the plays here. Again, Eternal with the lag problems, with the disconnects here, and Gamers2 is starting to be a bit annoyed by that, and I don't really blame them. That is the 3rd or 4th time that they are pausing the game now because of Eternal. I can understand that it's a bit of a problem with this connection, but I can also understand that Gamers2 is not really happy about these interruptions all the time.
Oh, is there? Oh, yeah, there's actually a team fight / engage going on here in the mid lane, so yeah, it's not going to be the best time to really pause. They're getting a little bit, yeah, they're getting upset. Testy here.
Yeah, they are getting a bit angry. I really understand that, but well, Batch is back, so we're going straight into that battle. So Eternal with that small disconnect is already back to business, and well, he's trying to escape on his Jaina right now. Nika is already in hot pursuit, and we're seeing the initiation from Shiku trying to jump in, but missing the target. So Gamers2 losing that last fight, that definitely put a bit of a stop to their momentum, but they're still ahead, they have the extra talent, and it looks like they are ballsy as they are, going for boss now. And that might actually work. Again Eternal with a drop. Wow. Like, whatever's wrong with his connection, they really need to try and fix this, because that's not going to be fun. There's another pause. Uh-oh.
Ooh, this is going to be a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Especially because, Gamers2 is not happy about this, especially because this gives them enough time to actually think about whether or not there is going to be a boss getting grabbed here. We can already see that Navi is moving before that pause actually went down, though, so it's not like it was a tactical pause to figure that out. It's just Gamers2 just getting annoyed at them pausing every couple of seconds.
Nika is actually putting it down. It's like, yeah, we're really sorry. Breeze, of course. I mean, Navi is a really well-mannered team. They troll sometimes a bit, but in general, these guys have been around for quite some time, and I've never really seen them having to deal with this many disconnects. So currently, Eternal having some kind of problem, and Nika is already saying, sorry that we're a bit annoyed here, but it's annoying for us as well. And yeah, especially Leo seems to be affected.
Yeah, everything kind of is not really ideal situations, but at least now we have a pause function.
Yeah,
Right?
at least we do have that, exactly. Back in the days we didn't really have that in the early alpha, and that was that bad. That was definitely annoying, but I actually like that they are starting to put some exceptions in for custom games. You can also chat in custom games with your opponent, which is really nice. And I'm more liking probably that you can't chat with your opponent in quick matches in Hero League. But yeah.
Really?
Right now-
Because you can not only just not chat with your opponents, but you can just not chat with your team too. You can just say, you know what, I don't want to listen to anybody, so I'm just going to close all lines of communications.
You know, with some of the teammates that you get these days, that is probably the way to go, in all fairness. There is a turn-in potential, by the way. Eternal is starting to move into the middle here, so while Boss is being taken up here at the top, we could now see Eternal just trying to get the turn-in, and then that would complete the turn-in for Navi. Boss versus turn-in, that's an interesting scenario there. The top lane so far, as you can see, there's still one tower available for Navi, so the Boss would go pretty much straight for the keep. In the late game, I feel that the composition of Navi is going to become a lot stronger than the one that we're seeing for Gamers2. Gamers2 is relying heavily on the push, and so far they've done a great job with that. I mean, 2 of the forts down, a keep nearly destroyed. They themselves didn't lose a single structure yet, towers excluded there. So I guess the game is going according to plan so far for the Polish team. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's they've got to keep this promote heavy style relevant into the late game, and I think that's exactly what, when we saw something like WCA finals, that was the issue, was that the promote is nice, but if you start to lose any type of headway or map control, your promote minions have to walk a very long way. Now, I was saying before, if you're in the middle of the lane, then sure, you're going to be able to start doing a little bit of pressure on the keep, or at least start taking up a little bit of ammo. But if you start getting backed up, if you start losing team fights, then it's going to be actually a huge issue. You're only going to be able to kind of equalize the situation instead of actually getting a lot of headway. So the boss has been grabbed here. Web Weaver's coming in here for NaVi as well. So Gamers2 in a little bit of a difficult situation. Double promote going in on the top lane, so that's going to force NaVi to deal with that.
Yeah, they have to move in, so these Web Weavers are not really going to do a whole lot. They're already moving in, but actually Navi is in a situation where they're going to lose a keep regardless, because Gamers2 is just saying, you know what, well, you deal with our boss at the top lane, we finish the job mid lane. And that's the first keep going down, 11 minutes and 40 seconds in, so Gamers2 can now just move back, take care of those Web Weavers, and the turn-in has basically not really done a whole lot. The only thing that he really accomplished was making sure that Gamers2 was not able to push with the boss, I suppose.
Yeah, and this is really where that's going to be a good spot here for Gamers2. They haven't lost that bottom fort, so that's going to at least be a base camp for where they can start throwing down a whole bunch of promotes. They aren't losing that map control I was talking about before. So if Gamers2 can keep this stranglehold on the map, they can move this into level 16 and possibly even deny their opponents the ability to even get to level 16. If they can end the game that early, then this is going to be, this is going to be great. But if they can't, and we start getting into the later game, and Kael'thas starts getting into a stronger and stronger position, it's going to be rough.
it's going to be very, very rough, since the damage in team fights is on the side, or definitely in favor of of Navi right now. So Gamers2, they already do a whole lot of damage. If they can get even a single, like a second keep, I would say, before level 16 hits, that would already be great for them. They're of course trying to get another turn in. They have still 36 gems, not quite enough to get a full turn in there, but they're going to get close. And we're seeing a very similar situation now for their opponents. They still have 15 gems available that they could turn in. That would put them close to the next turn in as well, but already completed one at the bot lane for Gamers2. And this fort that we're seeing at the bottom lane is already out of ammunition and nearly out of hit points too, so this is gonna fall pretty soon. Right now, both teams just dancing around each other, and I feel with Gamers2 picking up the level 16 talent in a couple of seconds, they're in a great spot to take another keep.
Yes, and if they get another keep, then it's going to be easily level 16. They're slowly creeping their way towards that, and that's exactly what Navi's so scared about. If they don't have level 16, if they have a keep down already, they can't lose another massive team fight. So Navi's playing so incredibly passive. They have to. They have to be very, very, very careful to not lose a massive team fight, and at the same time, soak as much experience as possible. Eternal does get disconnected again, comes back in, gets disconnected again.
Yeah, I see a pause coming in once more, and what are you supposed to do? I mean, there's nothing that they can do. So I'm not quite sure what exactly is happening there, but whatever it is, it's very frustrating for both of the teams.
Yeah.
Not 100% certain what Chihu means with "we won't."
Yeah, all I saw was "we won't," and then it was "thanks."
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that's like I feel like I'm missing part of the conversation.
Team comp, or there might have been like party chat accidentally, and then it went to all or something like that. I have no idea, but
yeah.
I'm assuming they're on voice over IP, so who knows?
Yeah, so Shiku at this point is already saying, like, I'm not quite sure what he exactly was surprised about, but at this point you can really see that Eternal is already on his way back. But yeah, these disconnects are of course annoying for both of them. First of all for Navi, because their own flow of the game gets interrupted the entire time. It's really annoying for Eternal. And I think that's what they were talking about. Look where Eternal is positioned.
Just realized that as well. I had that like focused on my screen, and I was like, "We won't what?" And I just realized Eternal's just straight in the middle of everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So they move away. That's fair play there. This is amazing. I'm loving this. So this is great from Gamers2. I really like this. So they're immediately saying, yeah, we won't kill him. Because that was obviously the bot running into 5 people there. I'm pretty sure that Eternal wouldn't have done that.
Alright, so they're going to pick up the bruiser camps. They're going to start trying to defend as much as possible. But there's another turn in here from Gamers2. So this is going to be a really rough spot here. Promote on catapults. Look at that catapult. Look at how like big and beastly and just scary that catapult is. And guess
Promoted
what? With
catapults.
as they've got, it's going to only get
worst.
scarier.
Yeah, they're the worst. I mean, they take how many % of the core? 5, I think, with each shot. So yeah, this is definitely a very, very tricky spot for them again. And here comes the push against the bot lane. Once again, we have Siege Giants pushing in. The Phoenix just barely well, it actually touched them a bit. But yeah, they're still alive thanks to Tassadar also throwing his shield around now. We still have those additional web weavers moving through the mid lane, and also at the top. The wall is already down here at the bottom. The 16 talent is still not ready for Navi. They need to wait for this one. Once that they have Ignite, they might be able to fight back here, but things are not looking good. The promoted catapult is going straight through the middle, and the bot keep, it's gonna be lost. They cannot save this one. The shield is already being attacked over here. Finally, the web weaver is dead, but the bottom keep is eliminated.
Yes, and because the Web Weavers and the Siege Giants are still alive, that gives Gamers2 enough time to rotate to the top lane, where the Web Weaver is still pretty healthy. They can potentially even get another keep here. They're still at a pretty good spot, but no, level 16 has been grabbed here by Navi. They look like they want to go for another engagement. Breeze, using Anduin's Might, gonna go straight in on ADRD. Can they melt him down quick enough? The Phoenix now starting to target down Yova, and actually it looks like Eternal is going to be the first one to fall here in the fight, and it looks like it's going to be a giant grouping of Navi trying to take out Sishu, but I don't think that's going to be actually possible. They're doing a lot of damage. Oh, Flame Strike!
Nice!
At the last second is going to be able to clean him up. That's 2 for 1, and Navi is still in this fight, but they are down 2 keeps.
Yeah, very well done here. That last second flame strike by JPL and his Kel'Thas, that was definitely worth it. AD in this fight surviving. I was very surprised by that, considering that he's the squishiest hero in the entire setup. But of course, if you lost 2 of your keeps, then you are in trouble and you know it. 17 versus 18 currently the levels here. The 16 Talon on Kel'Thas was the one that they really needed, and Kel'Thas right now is at 22,000 damage, so he's already ahead in damage, ahead of Jaina, and they are gonna try to make that work throughout the game now and start to take those team fights and win them, because that's the only thing that they can do. But promote is still a thing that they have to deal with, and since 2 of the keeps are already gone, promoted catapults are reality, and these things are so strong. But the fight is happening once again towards the left side of the map.
ADRD trying to be the biggest pain in the butt he could possibly be, and he is successful at doing so. He is really good at denying that gem turn-in. Look, they were trying to turn in for so long. They've got 45 gems. They only need 25 gems to hand in. But guess what? Even with 2 members down, Gamers2 was able to lag that out, and that is potentially going to allow them to just take this boss over here. But is Navi going to be able to come in here and really kind of make this into an issue? That's the question.
Well, Gamers2 is in the throw pit now, and it doesn't have the name for no reason, so this could potentially end badly, but they realize that too and move back immediately, so it's not going to be a massive throw by them. We have Brightwing, by the way, at the bot lane once more, and guess what he was doing there? Being annoying, using promotes to take down the shields of the core. Keep in mind, by the way, that we are so currently in a position where we could see a completed turn-in by Navi if they are just able to turn in a few of their gems, because they already turned in 35 and they have 60 on their heroes right now. Breeze alone would be able to complete that turn-in.
A breeze would knock down that core right now if you could.
Wow, the bad puns already.
Already? Come on, man! I'm still waking up. It's only 11:30 a.m. over here.
You were waiting for an opportunity where Breeze attacked that core all alone. Nobody else is there.
Well,
core is at 1%.
I don't think Breeze is going to get an ability to start taking things down here, because it doesn't look too good here for Navi. So I gotta use a Breeze pun before the night is over here. So anyway, we've got promoted catapults pushing in all these lanes. Brightwing is being Leo from Korea is being such a pain with those. Not using 2 in one lane, going to different lanes, using a promote in each of them, and that is what's really just solo winning this game, is that promote. Because I don't know, maybe NA is right about everything. And that's really what's going to be the biggest thorn in the side here for Navi. They don't have any keeps, and they've got catapults with promote.
Remind me, when Kinguin was playing remote early on this map, how did that end?
Hey, listen, just because your team's lost doesn't mean that promote's not a good idea.
Okay, just clarifying. Just
You know what, you can clarify all you want. It's winning now, so I've got some sort of validation. Shouldn't be taking a lot of damage, but it looks like they're going to have to back up here and trying to keep him alive, but he's going to go in here for the mosh, but not going to actually happen. Wow. He's going to get knocked out. They're trying to force the engagement before level 20, but it's just not going to go so well. Looks like Shiku's trying to turn around and look. No, doesn't look like. They're fine. They're fine. Just taking slow and steady.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, like, I think the thought process here was really, okay, I'm gonna die anyways, I'm gonna try and just power slide in and get a mosh pit off, and if I get that, then we might be able to get that. Now, the boss is of course gonna fall, and I guess this is the beginning of the end here, because this boss will definitely help them to take down the top keep, and once there's not a single keep on the map anymore for them, you can promote any lane with these catapults. It's gonna push so hard, you will never be able to move in anywhere. There's of course a completed turn-in now, thanks to Breeze in the middle or the bottom of the map, but is that really going to stop it? Maybe they will be able to take a fort down or 2, but right now the only thing that's gonna give them is it's going to get them closer to 20, I suppose. We're going to have 20 any second for Gamers2, but this keep is going to fall. There's no stopping this boss.
Yeah, not only just, the keep, but possibly even more than that, because if they can really hit level 20, they can really make this engagement happen, then it's just going to be game over here. But they're taking it nice and slow. They've got this boss. They can sit around this boss and just do some sustained damage, and they're getting the nice little stun here on, oh my god, can they take out the ETC? Shrimpy trying to disengage. He's going to be successful in doing so, but that's going to lag out their team for a bit of time. That means that the boss is going to be free reign on the core. Wow. There's a mosh pit, but it's not actually doing that much. It's only catching Yovo right now. And Leo from Career coming back in. Can they end the game? Yes, they are going to be able to. 50% and gone, 30% and gone, and it looks like Gamers2 turning the series around.
Gamers2 saying sorry for the disconnect, so it is a 2-1 victory for Gamers2, advancing to the final now to face Team Arthas.
Gamers2, wow. I mean, these guys are down in the series. They lose map number 1 and then they win 2 in a row against one of the best teams in Europe. They advance to the winner bracket final where they are going to meet Team Arthas. So very impressive performance by them. NaVi dropping into the losers bracket. They're not out of this tournament just yet. They have another chance there, but great games that we are seeing today here. I hope that you enjoy the show, guys. I hope that you enjoy the games and the commentary, and if you do, give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and if you want to have more Heroes of the Storm content in the future. Thanks again for tuning in today, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.